Well, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the Lagos State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Ade Ipaye. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, we know that Lagos and traffic are synonymous, but so many people have said that these laws are too strict. Some have even said it's draconian in nature, that maybe the state government just wants to give Lagosians a tough time. 59 offences, it does seem quite like a hard line, but how did you come about this law in the first place?
Well, let me first make it clear that the offences that we are talking about are not entirely new. We've always had a road traffic law. We've always had these offences, and we've always had penalties. But something was wrong, obviously, because despite the existence of the law, despite the penalties, we have seen the road culture in Lagos State, you can say in Nigeria, but especially so in Lagos State, deteriorate over time. And it has come to a situation that I would describe as an emergency. Maybe from the point of view of government, we see more than an individual would. In the hospitals, several accidents that are as a result of road traffic, reckless driving, several illnesses that are traceable to the use of certain means of transportation, several illnesses also that are traceable to aggravation caused by the way we drive.
Road rage.
Road rage, yeah. Yes. Making it difficult to get to work unless you wake up early, so early in the morning that you never get enough sleep. You get home late at night. It affects our productivity at work. All I'm saying is that it just wasn't working, and government needed to do something decisive. Now, if the fines that we had then were so little that people thought nothing of them and thought they could just continue as usual, and this is what we have seen, then it was necessary, you see, to jack them up and ensure that people begin to take these offenses seriously, because, in fact, the consequences are indeed very grave.
Well, we listened to the report, and we heard about the opinions of the motorcyclists or the Okada riders. How is government actually going to track so many of them? Because there are hundreds and thousands of them. And we also heard about 496 roads and 40 bridges. How is government going to ensure that they actually keep off these roads and bridges?
Yeah, you know, like, as is the case with every other law, which penalizes conduct, it may be impossible, really, to ensure that each and every offender is apprehended and penalized. But the way it is done all over the world is to have the laws in place, to have the law enforcement officers sensitized towards the implementation of the law, and then to let the individuals out there know that they take a risk. It may be that I will drive against traffic and get away with it this time. It may be that I will drive recklessly, I will do several other things that the law forbids and get away with it this time. But be sure that sometime soon you will be apprehended, and the fines will be applied. You will be, in more serious cases, you will be taken before a court, and you could be jailed as specified in the law.
I think we should actually talk about the option of jailing offenders, especially the Okada drivers or riders, where, if they can't come up with the 20,000, 30,000 naira, where are they all going to be kept? I mean, prisons are already congested.
Okay. The beauty of this law is that it is today the most flexible. in terms of the penalties that it prescribes. It is definitely and by far the most flexible. What I'm saying is that you may hear people talk a lot about 3 years imprisonment, 1 year imprisonment, and for causing death by dangerous driving is actually could be up to 7 years. But despite all that, despite the fines, the magistrates, the judges are given the option of, for instance, ordering community service, of impounding the vehicle, of ordering the driver to undertake training at the Drivers Institute. All of these are options open to the court. And furthermore, we should note that whenever the law stipulates a term of years as a term of imprisonment, it is the maximum. Therefore, the fact that the law says 1 year imprisonment does not mean that a judge would actually sentence the offender to 1 year imprisonment. He might sentence to 7 days community service or 1 month imprisonment. So whatever is stated in the law is the maximum. But as I said, the beauty of it all is that the judge need not even order a term of imprisonment at all. He may just say, do community service or go to the Drivers Institute for a training for a specified period of time.
Okay, one would have expected that trailers would have had more focus on them and would have been more closely monitored by this law. I mean, we often see situations where containers that are not properly secured on trailers are overturned, and there are so many accidents that happen as a result of that. How come that aspect has not been addressed by this law?
It actually has. Maybe there is more in that law than a lot of people have really appreciated. I know that in a schedule to the law, there are very copious provisions about vehicle standards, maintenance standards, and so on and so forth. Again, the problem in the past had been that these rules were not taken seriously. The fines were so little that people took them for granted. But now we have a new vehicle inspection service created by this law. They are being sensitized to also take that function very seriously. So the things that we used to see of having vehicles out there without functioning signal lights, without functioning headlamps, and so on and so forth, all of the regulations about securing your trailers and so are to be strictly enforced, and they are provided for in this law. And then aside from the rule that trailers will not be allowed within the metropolis from the hours of 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., the Commissioner for Transportation is also empowered by this law to make copious regulations concerning the way those trailers and tankers will function, the way they must be maintained if they are to be on our roads.